Hello, I'm MPX and welcome back to the video. So have you ever noticed how even though Minecraft is a game about building literally anything you want inside of it, and there are a near infinite number of possibilities as far as ways you can do that, you can combine blocks with each other in so many different ways to make so many different builds, but despite that fact, against all odds, you tend to see the exact same builds come up time and time again from different players in slightly different ways, but the exact same building idea seems to hit everyone, and that's why in today's video, I think it'd be kind of fun to go through some of the builds that we all made at some point in our Minecraft lives that maybe we shouldn't be so proud of, because if we're being honest, this first example is a great reason why you can't be proud of everything that you make in your Minecraft world. And the reason for that is because making a boat in Minecraft is a really popular idea, or I guess making a ship, because at some point it turns into one of those, but it's also a really ridiculous idea when you think about it at any level. So first of all, there's the fact that most of your boats you make in Minecraft, they look terrible. If we're being honest, this is one of the worst looking boats you've ever seen, and that's saying something compared to this sea of Minecraft boats that have come out there. But yeah, basically there are lots of terrible boats made in Minecraft. Not all of them have gravel flags, but everyone makes a terrible Minecraft boat at some point thinking, you know, yeah, I need a ship in my Minecraft world. I want to show the fact that I can go off and sail if I want to, but you know, here's the big problem. You can't move in ships because the way blocks work in Minecraft is you place them and they stay there. They stay in the place you place them, which means having a boat is just a way to say, oh, look, I could go and sail if I want to, but what you really have to do is you get in next to the giant boat that you've made, the grand ship that took all this time, you get a little oak boat like this and you just sail off next to it, and it just seems like you're being defeated, if you're being entirely honest. Making one of these giant boats and then having to ride one of these tiny ones around, it's just a really easy way to be defeated. Also, a lot of people do the same thing I do, where they surround their boat with water. If you have to make the water to place the boat in the first place, maybe, just maybe, you have some issues. But it's not quite as bad an example of like missing the point as this one right here. So I have a Spyro in my Minecraft world, and it's you know, it's a 2D pixel art character made in Minecraft. In pixel art, I use a bunch of stained clay and now concrete, and they look great when you make them. And yeah, you look at them and you're like, oh yeah, that's Spyro, that's wonderful. But here's the problem with this. This is why it's such a ridiculous idea. You know, Minecraft is a 3D game, right? Every single one of these, you know, like 2D pixels, it's a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter block. They're all cubes. It's a game about cubes. You know, that's one of the key parts of it. But that's why it's so ridiculous to make 2D pixel art, because everyone has made at some point, you know, a popular game character in Minecraft pixel art. It's a really common thing, and if I'm being honest, I've gone one step worse than making the 2D Mario or the 2D question mark block, because I've made 2D Minecraft. That's right, I've missed the point so much that I've made Minecraft things in 2D. That we could have made a 3D golden apple, but why not a 2D version of the same sprite? Because this is combining the ridiculous making pixel art thing with making a pixel art of something that would make much more sense in 3D, i.e. a boat, except it's a boat and it's a pixel art. It's combining two of the worst things together, which I've done this. This is my exact thing. It's a great version of a pixel art. It does look like an oak boat 2D sprite, but it's not a very good thing to combine. And yeah, this, if you ever wonder, like, you know, are you just making fun of people with Toy Cat? No, I'm mostly making fun of myself, but I know you've made this mistake at some point. Maybe if not making it with this exact oak boat or with the Elytra, or you can see there's some pretty terrible fishes over here. But even if I haven't made it with these exact same, even if you haven't made it with these exact same fish with this exact same problem, you've done something a bit ridiculous where, yeah, it might look great in theory, but Minecraft is a game about 3D. Making 2D things has some place, but I think most people definitely overuse it. And you know, Minecraft's a 3D game. We don't need 2D pixel art everywhere. Which is why, even though this was my very first creative build to be made in this world, if you can't already tell, this is my creative building world. It's years and years worth of things I built. I looked at it and I'm like, why was this necessary? Like, what did I exactly achieve? And you can see over the years I've just kind of like started desecrating it more and more. I've put some minecarts on the roof, and it's just a thing that makes me question what's up with the world. However, speaking of 2D pixel art, which, you know, sometimes does have its valid uses, I would say one of the closest things to a valid use is this right here. Because this is kind of a combination of the pixel art in maybe a good way with something that everyone is obsessed with. So I'll admit I have this exact same obsession, but everyone loves TNT in Minecraft. So everyone always goes through super complex ways of, you know, activating TNT. Everyone loves the mildly complex ways to detonate a TNT in Minecraft, but I mean, it's something we're all a bit too obsessed with, right? You can see how, like, it's got some TNT on the other side, and if you hit the button just right, it'll activate. Everyone loves the idea of detonating TNT. You can see, looking around the world, they've done it a bunch of times, but why do we need TNT everywhere? Like, it's just an explosion. There are lots of ways to get explosions and make ugly holes, but everyone loves TNT. Everyone's done something embarrassing, like a tower of TNT, or like an entire world covered in TNT. I totally haven't done that before, but no, it's a real problem everyone has in Minecraft. You don't need to make things out of TNT. Yes, it explodes, and yes, exploding is interesting, but I mean, after a certain point, you realize it's just more hassle than it's worth, and it's also not very creative or good looking, or really most of the things that people like in Minecraft. Hasn't stopped people, of course, but it's still a thing people do. So the fourth problem is to do with houses. A lot of people like to make, nice little quaint shacks in their Minecraft world. And I guess I can't fault this one too much. Like, everyone likes to have some form of shack, but then they always have the issue of like, what do I put on the inside? And it's always like some form of hay or something. Or even worse, this is a Minecraft house problem I've seen so many times, and it hurts me a little bit. So I've made a nice replica house to show you just how bad this can hurt. This is a house where someone was like, okay, I'm gonna watch all the building tutorials in the world. I'm gonna learn how to make, an A-frame, B-frame. I'm gonna wire it, gonna make it slightly diagonal, even though that's horrifically impractical because, on the inside of the house, the space doesn't make any space. I'm going to go through all these building techniques, but then they don't realize that, having brown blocks of brown blocks of brown blocks, that doesn't color complement at all. Everyone's made this mistake at some point where they figure, if we have blocks that are all the same color but slightly different, they'll all go together. No, that makes for a really sad looking house, not only because, again, in this case, we made a super diagonal house, which is sad on its own merits, but then everything's also brown. The glass is brown, the floor is brown, it's a different brown, and the different brown to the door as well, but everything is just brown in different ways, and it's just super, super sad, and, it looks like you've just gone into, the place, and you've decided, why don't we have a house that's just covered in feces, all the walls, all the ceilings, all the floor. It'll be different grades of feces from, different levels of, not having, gone in a few days, but it's still awful, it's not a good thing, and, if you're gonna do this, have some color. It doesn't have to be bright green, but it can be a different color of wood, or it can be anything like that. Don't have your wood be all made of the same color. It's just a bad. And I guess the other pro tip here is if you do, this is a valid tip for real life too, if you ever do have feces and you think, maybe I should smear those on the wall, that'll be a good look for something. Actually, most people do not prefer that. I've learned this one the hard way, but if you invite guests over, they much prefer that your walls are clean to, being covered in your own. So the next thing that everyone has built, despite it not making too much sense, is a pathway. And a pathway can come in so many different forms. This is just some birch slabs. This is some birch slabs with some stuff on the side of the road. This is a very complex pathway that I've made at some point, made of ice with then a ceiling made of, like quartz, just so you can always see it. And the basic idea of a pathway makes sense in some places. Like when you've got a big body of water, why not make a bridge so people know how to get over it and in which direction to go? Water can confuse people, but most of the time that people have pathways in their Minecraft world, it's entirely unnecessary. It's something you do because you're like, well, I need to connect these two places, and having a sign telling the direction or a map, that's just way too much, that's for sure. But it's so ridiculous to decide to be like, why don't I have a pathway made of, all these sorts of things? Because if we're being honest, the most natural pathway is no pathway. Have you noticed how most things in real life, there's like just a nice little dirt pathway block? It's just a pathway block. It signifies that you're going somewhere because people have trodden on there before, and it's made a slight imprint. That's how it actually looks when you have a pathway going from one place to another. Maybe a little bit of randomness because people don't walk in perfect straight lines all the time, but that's like how most pathways look, to kind of guide people very, very lightly. But most people, and myself included here, use super thick things. This is my exact pathway. I know it's terrible. It's a waste of stone. It's a waste of like wood for something that's going to be inefficient anyway. Most people aren't going to follow the road exactly, and if they are, you're kind of just limiting them in anyway. It's much better to just vaguely guide people. By the way, I've actually seen pathways like this before. Actually seen pathways with end stone in them before. Actually seen people use green concrete. All these ideas are bad. What you want to have instead is you just want to have a little bit of coarse dirt, or you want to have a pathway or something every now and then to guide people. But what's better than that is you don't guide people. You just say, this is there, that's there. Have a natural guideway, because having a literal road between things, it's just not a very common thing, and it's usually a terrible idea. Most of the times that pathways are used, they're a bit overused, and again, I'll admit I'm a part of this problem, but it is a problem, and it's a problem we should get over. Except in bridges. I like bridges. Actually, everyone's made a bridge at some point. Keep going with those. I don't like having to cross water by myself, so good job everyone, keep going with those bridges, but don't keep going with these statues, because these statues are something I've always loved. There's so many ways to do them, and if we're being honest, there's so many bad ways to do them. You're looking at these right now and you're like, so what's with the man with the laser beam for the eyes, or why is this one so awful? Like, why has he got a weird, top on with some boots, and, this guy is just way too far back. That's not a human being, so you messed up on these statues. But, as you can see, everyone has done a statue of this one before. Don't try and lie and say, no I haven't, I've never made a statue. Everyone's made a statue because there's so many fun ways to do it. It's kind of like a fun game of like, what's the most interesting statue? We've got a statue holding a bow, a statue holding a log, a statue with a staff that's on fire. It looks like a fire staff from RuneScape. But, the statue that I think takes the cake for very worst one is this one right here. It is a gravel statue. It literally makes me want to throw up just a little bit of like, why did anyone think this is a good idea? Let alone me. Even as a joke, I kind of regret doing this. So this is the moment moment we just break it, we say, no, no more statue, just a big pile of rubble, because this is what it's all made of. This is what the entire thing is cut out to be. It's terrible, don't make statues, and if you're going to make statues, please not gravel. Please not gravel. Can I quickly point out this world is like 6 years old, and I do have a panda here. Not just a panda, you know, a mob from this update. It's a panda holding a bamboo stick, just saying. Got the next update predicted right here, which means we're going to have an elephant update, I guess a baby elephant update, and and a duck update, and a bee looking off to the left update. That's a thing we'll totally see. Also, yeah, like huge animal things, just a little bit overdone. That's why I have these ones, which are slightly differently, you know, done pixel arts. Everyone's got a bit of style to them. They're not just the exact same, which makes them terrible. Speaking of terrible, I can't ever show off this world without being like, oh yeah, so rather than just make a horse, you know, 3D thing, because I wanted to make a 3D model. It'd been a nice thing if I finished it. I got halfway through and finished, you know, why have a horse head when you can have an ocelot head? And I'm just saying, putting an ocelot's head on a horse's body is still the most horrific thing to this day. That might be a crime against humanity. Definitely breaking one of the rules of Minecraft by making this. Not proud of myself by any stretch of the imagination. Also, if we're talking about worst builds I've ever made that maybe aren't as common, it has to be mentioned, this Nintendo Switch right here, where I, 1, didn't ever finish either of the Joy-Cons, and 2, misunderstood the size of the Switch screen. Like, this is like a Game Boy screen with some Switch controllers attached. I probably could have saved it by saying it was a Game Boy Switch combination, but this is one of those things where you just kind of say, ooh, that's a thing that exists that we're going to pretend doesn't. And speaking of things that shouldn't really exist, here's an example of the most made thing in Minecraft. The single thing that almost every single player, at least over half of players, make on a regular basis in Minecraft. When they first get into it, they're like, oh, you can make anything you want to, I'm going to make myself one of these. That's right, people make themselves a giant skyscraper, and they make it, you know, looking like this. Maybe, you know, sometimes you see it, it's like a sideways train car, and then for some reason it's raining, you know, like, but it's always white rain that rains onto it. I don't know what the deal with that is, but the thing is, this is a terrible build. One, I mean, you look at it and it's just, it's not a very well proportioned thing. It's just not a great idea. Second of all, it's always the waste of expensive blocks. They always make it out of solid gold or diamonds or something. It's never a cheap thing. They put a lot of effort into it, but they don't even realize that you can't live in this skyscraper. It's pointless as a Minecraft house, because if you want to live inside here, there's like one block to the other side, and then it doesn't really work after that. And I'm just saying that, you know, this is a really, really flawed Minecraft thing. If you're going to make a giant skyscraper, you should be able to live in it. It just defeats the point if you're going to make one of these giant skyscrapers with the white rain always falling on it. Again, for some reason, it's always raining in these places. Make a happy skyscraper, maybe with a sun on it, maybe one you can live on, and I just don't get. People are so immature making their skyscrapers, sometimes attached to statues, that you can't even properly live in. And I just think that's a great shame that people make stuff like this in Minecraft. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. You can leave one if there's something that you think everyone makes that wasn't included in here. But the truth is, there are a lot of overmade things in Minecraft, and if you're playing a game which gives you infinite possibilities, give them a try. Or, you know, if you don't like giving them a try, there's so many other great aspects of Minecraft that, you know, like if you're going to be, you know, playing around with like, oh yeah, playing one of the more unique challenges, why not make a unique house? Why not make anything unique? A lot of people seem forced into believing that the only things you can make in Minecraft are things that are objectively good, and that, you know, like there's a building community that thinks they're wonderful and everything. And although, you know, you might get some joy in making something that people look at and go, oh, that's super nice, but the truth is, experimentation is a big part of what Minecraft is all about. Minecraft is a sandbox game. There are so many things yet to be discovered about the game, yet to be ever made inside the game. And here's a great example of something that I think is a great way to play around something. This is just a bunch of beacons with a few things going on. We can make a danger sign out of it above it, you know, being lit up entirely by beacons. It only works on Java and on console, because on Bedrock the beams don't go so well. But the fact that you can make a huge thing in front of a giant office, which is mostly glass, because we're going for an industrial design, going for something that hasn't been done before, I think is always a better idea than looking at, you know, either, you know, I see a lot of really popular posts or like, you know, like YouTube videos, whatever, just like, this is the build you need to make, here's the step-by-step tutorial. Although that is useful if you want to get started, it's always worth remembering that the true beauty in Minecraft is in making anything you want to, and trying to play around things to find the most unique thing possible. That's what I've done for years on my channel, and I hope that's what you do after this. By the way, here's an example of one. As you can see, it's a house. It's made of chests, but the chest room vanishes when you get too far away from it. You can only see it from a certain distance. Kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope this reminds you of all the terrible things you've done in the past. And if you want to show me the most awful builds that you made years back in Minecraft, please do, either via Twitter or via reddit.com/r/IBXToyCat. I hope you did all enjoy this video. I hope you give it a like if you did like it, a share if you liked it, and make sure you subscribe, maybe notifications turned on if you want to see more videos about weird challenges and also stuff every single day on your homepage. That's the best way to see it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you all did enjoy it, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.